All right, we're going to do some fraction busting and decimal busting today. These methods help me change a kind of yucky equation with a lot of fractions or a lot of decimals and turn them into equations that have whole numbers. Okay? So, what we want to do is get each of the denominators to equal 1. So, let's start off with letter A. So how would I change what do I need to multiply each side by so that my denominator of divide by 5 becomes a 1? Well, we're going to do the inverse, which is multiply by 5. If I multiply by 5 on one side, I multiply by 5 on the other, giving me negative 15 on one side. And then the 5 divided by 5 cancels. So we get x is equal to negative 15. We can go ahead and check. Negative 15 divided by 5 gives me negative 3. Woohoo! Next, now we have two fractions. So first I'm going to start with the first fraction. How do I clear a divide by 6? I'm going to multiply both sides by 6. So I need to multiply the first fraction, the second fraction, and the third constant on the other side. So I get 24 is equal to 6 times 5 is 30 over 8. Okay, 6 divided by 6 cancels, and then I'm left with just an x over 1. So now I have to clear this divide by 8 right here. So I'm going to multiply both sides by times 8. So first fraction, go ahead and multiply by times 8. I get, let's see, 8 divided by 8 is 1. I get 30 is equal to 192. And then multiply my 8 in. So 8x minus 30 is equal to 192. Okay, how do I solve for x now? We're going to go ahead and add 30. This becomes 222 is equal to 30 divided by 30 is a 0 pair, so it becomes 0. And that's equal to 8x. Make sure I took that off right. Okay, and then we're going to divide by 8. So x is equal to, let's see, 222 divided by 2. Let's see, I'm going to simplify this. Divide by 2 is 111. Divide the bottom by 2, giving me 4. And I think that's as far as we can go. All right, next one. Same idea. I'm going to go ahead and multiply by the first denominator to clear that. So times 8. Remember everything by times 8. And we're going to do this one a little different. So my 8's cancel, leaving me 3x minus. Okay, we can do something called cross-canceling. So anything from the top of the fraction and anything from the bottom of the fraction can, if they can divide, then we can cancel them out. So 8 divided by 2 gives me 4. So these become 4. So 3 times 4 is 12 equals, and then the same thing, what's 8 divided by 4? That's 2. 3 times 2 is 6. So now I have whole numbers. I can just solve for x. Plus 12. So we get 18 is equal to negative 12 plus 12 is 0. 3x. And then divide by 3. So x is equal to 6. All right. So another method that we have is called decimal busting. And this is, of course, when we have decimals. And what we're going to do is try and multiply by a power of 10 so that the decimal moves to the right until you get a whole number. So for the first one here, this is the 1/10 x equals 7. So we're going to since there's only one decimal place, one digit after the decimal place, we're going to multiply by 10. I have to multiply by 10 on both sides. So what that does is it moves the decimal over one space to the right. So I get the 0.1 becomes 1x is equal to 70. So x is equal to 70. Okay. All right, so in order to move the decimal over one 2 times, what I need to do is multiply by a number that has 2 zeros after it. So 100. What it's going to do is move the decimal 2 times. So I get 1x is equal to 1,000. So 1, 2, 3 zeros, 1, 2, 3 zeros. Okay. 0.001x is equal to 4. So if I want to change this decimal into a whole number, I need to scale up the equation. So what number can I multiply by that has 3 zeros in it? That's 1,000. Okay. So when I multiply that in, it moves the decimal 1, 2, 3 places, giving me 1x is equal to 4 times 1,000, which is 4,000. Okay. We're going to try these now. So if you look at the first equation, how many decimal places do you see? What's the most number of decimal places you see? And I see 2 in that decimal and 2 places in that decimal. So what do I need to multiply by to move the decimal over twice? Anything that has 2 zeros in it. So a power of 10 that has 2 zeros in it. So that would be 100. 100. I'm going to distribute it in, giving me 1, what makes the decimal place move over 2 spots. So 135 plus 100 times x is 100x is equal to negative. Remember, 100 moves the decimal 2 places, so negative 65. I'm going to subtract 135 from both sides now. Bring down my 100x. And then negative 65 plus negative 135 is, so I like to add the opposite, telling me to add those two negatives together, which is negative 200. Then divide by 100. So 100 divided by 100 is 1, and x is equal to negative 200 divided by 100 is 2. That's a lot. This is so much nicer than that equation, I think, at least. Okay. Last one. So again, this example has max 2 decimal places to move. So I'm going to multiply by a 100 on both sides. So 1 times 100, well, that's an easy side, 100. And I'm going to go ahead and move the decimal place 2 times. 1, 2, giving me 30x minus 1, 2, so minus 25x. Now I can combine my like terms, giving me 30x minus 25x is 5x. Okay, since we're on the same side of the equal sign, so same side of the equal sign, you just perform the operation that's there. So it's minus, so I go ahead and just 30 minus 25. Okay, and when it equals 100, and then I divide by 5, divide by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1, leaving me 1x is equal to 100 divided by 5 is 20. And those are some of the tricks I got for you.